Hello and welcome back to Our Life Beginnings and Always. Here we are in step number 3. We got 10 moments, excluding Baxter Ward moments, and then summer ended. This is exciting for me. There's a lot of cool stuff to do here. So what's going to happen in the life of Marina Foster today? Oh man, well, that's, it's not an aw man, it's one of the ones I like, but it's not where I expected to lead off. Let's lead off, though, by going for a drive. Like a lazy cat, you stretched out your arms above your head and yawned, blinking your eyes sleepily. This one, I think, isn't that exciting of a moment. It's one of the more romancy moments. So in the world of Marina, it's probably not that exciting. The day was warm and pleasant, and you were lounging on the couch in the living room, finding it difficult to do much in that moment. Finding it difficult to do much in that moment. Yep. But fortunately, we won't get to meet one of Marina's favorite people in this moment. Your moms and Liz had gone out shopping, looking for some new items for your sister to take back and decorate her college dorm with. Always a challenge. They had asked if you wanted to go with them, but you declined. For you, today was all about relaxation. How many of these moments start off with us deciding that we're going to be lazy in the summer? Like, so many of them. It's just like, oh, does this character do anything ever? Cove had dropped by to spend some time with you, content to join in with doing nothing. The two of you had been chatting idly as you lazed around, talking about the other things you had planned for the summer. So this is like, how romantic are you with Cove? You were sitting next to him, he sat in one couch while you sat in your own. You sat in one couch where you were fully stretched out on the other. You stretched out across him as he sat in the couch. This, fully stretched out. You had your feet propped up on one of the armrests and a stuffed or comfy cushion beneath your head, totally settled in. Yeah, that's how Marina be. The day dragged on and you found yourself yawning more and more often between conversations. You had almost dozed off completely when a sudden buzz rang out, disturbing the silence. Your phone was on its charger in the kitchen, so it couldn't have been that. Cove pulled his own phone from his back pocket and checked the screen.
Oh.
It's my mom. After leaning forward and setting the phone on the coffee table in front of him, Cove hit the speaker button. Hey, what's up? Marina's here too.
Hi.
Hi, Cove. Hi, Marina. Kyra Priest, everybody. Kyra Priest. I found out ages of everybody. I was pretty much right, spot on about their ages. Kyra's actually a little younger than I thought. In this step, Kyra is only about 36. Yeah, mid-30s. Kyra's younger than me. Give me a small noise in response. Hi, Kyra! Hey, Mom 3. You're interrupting a very important do nothing time, you know. Hi, hey, Mom 3. Cove laughed at your nickname for her. Cove, baby, I wanted to ask you if you have a plan for all your junk. What you gonna do with all this junk? All this junk up in your trunk? No. Cove made a small outraged grumble, giving you a sidelong glance. You bought a lot of that junk. True.
Aha.
But is that a yes or a no about the plan? Cove closed his eyes for a moment, his nose wrinkled in thought. Can you let me know how busy you are this week? I'll check my schedule.
Cool.
He looked over at you, his mouth pulled into a tight smile. I'm gonna take the phone off speaker so me and Mom can go over this. It'll be quick. Without waiting for an answer, Cove took the phone from the table and pushed himself to his feet. Yeah. Like, Kyra is like her third mom, and Cliff is like her dad. Just that's how Marina feels. He hit the speaker button again to turn it off and continued the conversation with his mom as they headed towards the door. The lock clicked behind him as he exited the house, and you sank back under the cushions, idly trying to decide what to do next. After electing to grab your own phone from its charger, you resumed your position on the couch, tapping away at the screen. So, Marina lives on her phone now, which is kind of sad. Man, probably had Facebook back in 2016? No, wait, Facebook was already becoming less popular by then. She's probably on Twitter. And probably on Instagram. Your mind drifted away from thoughts of Cove and his phone call or all the many ways your device could distract you. Probably have some of those like boring app games. I could see Marina being that kind of person. It was an effective enough way to kill the time, and you'd managed to do various little things when the door opened again and Cove returned.
Hey.
Hope you managed without me. You watched as Cove strolled over to where you were still sitting. So, good or bad news? He sighed dramatically and let his forehead fall against the couch back, his ponytail flopping forward over the front cushion. Yeah, it's crazy to think that Cove has a ponytail. You know how I always just fly whenever I visit my mom? Well, I could never take anything I had with me there with me on the plane. That's the stuff she was talking about. Now, she used the term junk, Cove. Now that I'm not going to be visiting her like I used to, I'll have to go get it all at some point. Yeah, you're moving out into your own and getting your own job. He looked at you, his forehead creasing as he thought the situation through. Some of it is pretty big, so it's not really practical to have it shipped. I can drive over and pick it up. When will you go? That's what my mom wanted to know. She thought it'd be best to do it soon before things get even busier. He paused to let out a soft sigh, shoulders dropping, knowing it was something of a stressful job to handle. I think that's probably the idea that makes the most sense, too. It'd be good to get it over and done with. I'll be setting out as soon as I can. Oh, another trip already, then. So, since this is the first moment we're doing, Cove just got back from there and it's going back out. It's kind of weird to think that. That's what this one's kind of weird. He gave you a grim smile and shrugged.
I know.
I'm sorry. Not a big deal, fine. Are you just trying to get away from me? You didn't know what to say. That's not a big deal. The quicker you leave, the quicker you'll come back, right? Yeah. Looking up again, he met his bright aquamarine eyes, finding a sad smile tugging at his lips. I'm really hoping some of the late game stuff in this is especially sappy and romancy with Cove, and I'm really hoping we don't go there.
Oh.
Suddenly his eyebrows jumped and his eyes lit up like a lamp. You could come with me? What? You should come. My visits to my mom's are usually special, so she and I can spend time together. But this time it's not like that, it's an errand. My plan is to drive out one morning, spend the night, and then we can pack up the car the next morning and turn right back around. It'd only take 2 days for the whole thing. You thought to yourself for a moment, amused by Cove's excitement. Are you sure it'd be okay if I go?
I mean...
Why not? I probably could use the company. It's a pretty long drive for one person. Plus, you'd have a chance to see my mom in person. I know she'd be happy to see you again. He bounced in the spot as you radiated excitement. Yeah, we'd be Marina would be happy to see Kyra again. What are you talking about? She loves Kyra Priest. When should we leave? I'll have to let my moms know, but as long as we've got nothing else important the days we pick, there's no reason I wouldn't be able to go. Cove's face brightened, and you were sure the prospect of having a travel buddy made the task seem less tiresome. I mean, Marina could drive part of the way, too. She drives. I'll call my mom back and tell her. We can pick a time right now. I was actually kind of wondering about this moment if he would let her drive and they would trade off for the drive, because he talks about it being long and he gets tired. I'm kind of hoping that's the thing. That's one thing. One way I was hoping this would be different if I played a character who could drive a car. You spent some time together going over your schedule, making plans for when you could take the trip. You needed to fit it in around both your work schedules, which took a bit of doing, but came together in the end. Luckily, it was only a 2-day trip, so finding a couple free days in a row wasn't impossible. It wasn't long before the dates were finally set and all the plans were made. You were excited for the trip, you were content with the plans, you were nervous, you were feeling... Yeah, you were excited for the trip. A short trip sounded like a perfect way to spend some time. You could listen to music, eat snacks, and enjoy the open road. Plus, Marina loves travel, and she's getting to go to Nevada, which very likely is a place she has never been yet. I'm assuming Marina doesn't get out of this town much. Probably goes to the city some, like San Diego. She might have taken small day trips and stuff around with like her pals. Like she might have went places with like Miranda and Terry, maybe with Cove places. Like I said, her and Cove probably go up and down the coast looking for beaches to surf. At least in their local area. But this is a little farther. No matter what you thought about things, the morning when you were due to leave arrived. Yeah, skip ahead. It was cooler than usual. No matter what you thought about things, right? That just happens. It was cooler than usual, the sun barely peeking over the tops of the houses. You stood outside your house on the footpad near the road, waiting for Cove. You were feeling refreshed after a good night's sleep and an early wake-up. With your travel bag clutched in one hand, you watched as Cove finished packing up his car. He had organized all sorts of things, water bottles, snacks, and who knows what else. Cove insisted he'd have everything under control and didn't need help. At least you could rest easy knowing that it was all taken care of. As you waited, you glanced over Cove's car. You knew it well. It used to belong to Mr. Holden, and when Cove had learned how to drive, it passed on to him. His dad had taken the opportunity to get a newer one. Yeah, so we're driving. They just more. Also, it gives them an excuse to not have to do a new car, right? With the thing. It was pretty old at this point, but it served both of them well so far. You just hoped it had enough life left in it to survive a trip as long as the one you were embarking on. Oh, come on, it's not that old. The slam of the door closing made you jump. You snapped back and focused and saw Cove walking toward you. He dusted his hands off in his pants and tilted his head up toward the car. That's it? Ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready. He smiled and stepped aside, giving you space to situate your own bag where you wanted it. Once everything was safely inside, he glanced back at you. How's he got this little car got room for? I think this might be an SUV. I think.
All right.
We should get started. It's gonna be a ways to go. I'm gonna reevaluate when we're in the car. You gave him a high five. He returned it happily, chuckling at your enthusiasm. Let's see. No, this is definitely a car. No, wait, maybe not. I think it's very much a car. How much? So Cove can't have that much stuff if he can take it in a car. I mean, they'll have the whole back seat, but I don't know, man. How much stuff does he actually have at Kyra's? I mean, I do know the feeling of not being able to get stuff from your parents' house, because, like, I go through my parents' I was actually just talking to my mom a little while ago about this. I've still got a lot of stuff at my parents' house from my childhood and stuff that I'm going to want, and I can only get it when I drive up there. I should have took more stuff back with me this summer when I went, but I didn't think to do that. Plus, we didn't have a lot of space in the car, because it was a bunch of people, a bunch of us going on the trip, and didn't have a big car. So, and I don't have a lot of space in my apartment for like a bunch of junk either, but you know. I very much know this feeling of having stuff at your parents' house that you gotta go get and stuff. When you're starting your own life, right? The two of you climbed into the car and buckled up, Cove in the driver's seat and you sitting shotgun. His eyes moved to you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for coming on this trip with me. Hey, I'm doing this for me too, it'll be fun. After checking the mirrors and starting the engine, you pulled out of the driveway and the trip began. With a small sigh, you get cozy in your seat and watch the familiar houses in your neighborhood pass by. Cove reached over to turn on the radio. A crackle of static mixed with the cold, odd snippets of song filled the car as he flipped to the station. You don't have a go-to station in your local area, Cove? That's odd. Sorry, I'm drinking water. Cold water is so good. Mr. Holden's car was in good condition, but it was well older. There was no way to plug in a phone to play music, so the radio had to do. Oh, wow. Yeah, he doesn't even have a CD player in here, right? Just a radio. This is her early 2000s, I think, probably car. I would guess. It's probably as old as we are. Eventually, he settled on a top 40 station before sitting back and resting both hands on the wheel. Is this okay? Yes, you know what I like. Yeah, it works. You nodded. Can I change it? I'd rather have it off. I think, yeah, it works. Because she doesn't like top 40s as much, probably. She's probably into, like, all her, like, indie bands and whatever else. But she'll listen to this stuff. He smiled, happy with the answer. She's a connoisseur, okay? She has taste, she has music, she has a vast library of music that she's built up since she was a kid. Like, it's one of her hobbies is listening to music, man, and collecting albums and stuff. Marina might be one of those people when she's older that has vinyl and stuff. I don't think she has room for vinyl now in her room. She probably just has CDs and stuff, but she probably also has, actually, I don't know if she'd collect CDs or not, because that might be a little before her time. She might just have all the digital albums and stuff. She might have some vinyl. I don't know. He smiled, happy with the answer. Time flew by, and with the scenery outside your window become more and more unfamiliar. Neither of you spoke for a good long while, but the quiet was comfortable. You'd become all too used to each other's company over the years. Eventually, Cove broke the silence, clearing his throat softly before he spoke. It's been too long since you and I have spent some time with my mom. I know she still comes to the neighborhood sometimes, but it's not even once a year. I'm always going to hers. I'm happy the two of us are doing this. Yeah, me too. Speaking of your mom and trips, remember that time she took us on that crazy drive all across town? They love reminiscing on this, and it was one of my favorite things, so... He shook his head at the memory, his laughter clear and bright. Well, I remember I kept worrying about papers and shoes while you were having a blast. It was an amazing night. Jeez, I was dumb. It was an amazing night. He smiled quietly to himself, clutching the wheel a little more confidently. With a crinkling of his eyebrows, a look of nostalgia crossed over Cove's features. Mom always knew how to make things memorable. I can't deny that. Silence slowly crept back into the space, both of you thinking back on that night and all the memories you had of it. Your elbow rested on the windowsill. You gazed out at the world that was slowly coming to life as the morning rolled on by. There's nothing like going on a long road trip and starting early, and then having this whole, like, feeling of the world waking up and you're already out there on the road. You've been out on the road a couple hours already, and the morning is coming up. I'm a road trip person. Always have been, always will be, man. Die hard. The sun climbed higher in the sky. Luckily, the sunbeams weren't going right in your eyes. I'm getting another one here pretty soon. I just did a big one down to Arkansas a couple weeks ago. I'm getting another one in a couple weeks. I'm going to Chicago for a weekend. Not a huge road trip, but just long enough. Hey, do you mind reaching back for me? Cove gave you a sidelong glance as he drove, indicating with a nod of his head and a tiny smile. I want some chips, the salt and vinegar ones. That's a great flavor. I know you can eat that. You didn't have a comment on the selection. Marina would eat these. I don't.
Right?
Eat whatever you want to. I brought a bunch of everything. Stretching out the seatbelt to give yourself space, you twisted in your spot and reached in the bag, holding the snacks. It took a bit of effort to sort through the collection of goodies stuffed inside, but eventually the bag of chips crinkled beneath your fingers as you pulled them out and sat back in your seat. Welcome to my ASMR. Here. Thanks. Do you mind opening it? His eyes lit up at the prospect of the snacks, and you shook your head in amusement, popping off the top of the bag. You poured a few chips in his hand. You held the open bag out towards him, wanting me to feed him to you. You held the open bag out towards him. With a smile, he dug into the bag noisily, picking out a couple chips between his fingers and popping them into his mouth. The sound of crunching and rustling filled the car as he reached over from time to time, taking a few more. Ultimately, he elected to drag out an entire handful at once, losing a few of the chips to the floor. Very Cove Holden here, very Cove Holden. After that, you rolled up the top of the bag and stowed the chips safely in the back again. When you turned to the front, it was to find Cove crushing the fistful of chips into his mouth, crunching loudly. He wiped his hands in his pants absent-mindedly before gripping the wheel and spilling the crumbs all over the place. Oh man, I can't stand stuff like that. I can't stand... I eat in my car all the time, but I can't stand stuff like this. I have to be way more careful than Cove Holden. You're like a little kid. You laughed at that. How can you eat that much at once? I'm impressed. How can you eat that much at once? Cove mumbled to his mouthful of chips, and you stared at him in disbelief. You had no idea what he was trying to say, but you couldn't stop yourself from chuckling at how ridiculous he looked. The hours drifted by much the same way as that, with the two of you snacking and chatting as the day stretched on. It was sort of calm and quiet traveling along the open road, and you found little in the way of interruptions. Yeah, Marina would want to drive at some... would hope to have taken over the driving for him at some point, but I guess that's not happening. At one point you passed a Welcome to Nevada sign. Cove gave a tiny cheer. He was in disbelief that the two of you were seriously all the way in another state like this. If you had a GPS, it would be like, Welcome to Nevada. It would welcome you itself. They do that these days, and it's weird. Eventually, you had to stop for gas and made a detour to a small diner to grab a proper meal that didn't consist of chips and candy. That's the way to do it. Little small diners. Man, they're out in the frickin' desert, too. If they're going to Nevada from Southern California, they're driving mostly through the desert. Just saying. Driving through the desert was one of the best times of my life. After refueling both the car and your stomachs, the drive was back on. Just as the sun began dipping beneath the horizon and bathing the sky in a wash of orange light. Probably some desert, probably maybe some mountains even, because I think we determined that she lives in, oh no, did I say, no, I think she lives in Reno. So it's like northern Nevada. So it's pretty far, yeah, from where they live. I'd have to look at the actual distances to see if they can do that in a day. Cove informed you that there wasn't too much longer left to go. You were almost there. You took shifts driving. Hey! You took shifts driving throughout the trip. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The route was fairly straightforward, and you had enough practice with driving to feel comfortable doing so. When the night eventually fell in a blanket of darkness, the drive finally came to an end. That's what I was hoping for. Cole pulled into the parking lot of Kyra's apartment building, the glow of the car lights disappearing as he turned off the engine and let out a heavy sigh.
Huh.
We made it. We're here. The two of you exchanged tired smiles, having successfully and safely completed one half of the trip. You were relieved to actually have arrived and eager to get out of the car and stretch your legs. You took the stairs up to the building together. After a knock, you were abruptly met by a flash of green hair as Kyra opened the door and immediately took her son in her arms. My baby?
Cove.
No. Cove. Not my baby. I was taking a guess at which one she was gonna say. Here is introducing Miss Kyra Priest, age 36. Beautiful. Vibrant. All Kyra. There he is, my gigantic baby boy. Taller than his mom. Almost taller than his dad. She squeezed him for a moment, and then he pulled back so she could examine his face. Are you even taller than the last time I saw you? Which was probably just like a couple weeks ago. Cole gave her a fond look as she patted the tops of his shoulders proudly. Although I will say this, I don't know that even if you do the moments out of order that they actually happen in the order you do them. I feel like the summer would be like all over. Like, the summer wouldn't necessarily be like in the order that you do it anyway. You just do the moments in that order. You're seeing the moments in that order. It doesn't mean they happen in that order. Also, Kyra's apartment, ladies and gentlemen. This looks very modern apartment. It gives me Night in the Woods apartment vibes. She has a little kitchen with the fume hood and very clean. She has, yeah, very clean. Not as vibrant and colorful as I would expect from someone like Kyra, though. I would expect her to have. I know they weren't gonna like make a bunch of stuff, but I just feel like Kyra would be more eclectic in her decorating. But maybe she's also not home a lot because she does travel for work, so maybe she doesn't want to have a lot of stuff. I don't know that much about the actual life. I can't. Who am I to judge Kyra Priest? You say that every time I'm here. It doesn't even make sense right now. My last visit wasn't that long ago. Kyra simply laughed before letting him go fully and ushering the two of you into her apartment. Then she turned to you, a wide grin pulling at her lips. All his freaking cargo shorts. This is just such a weird look. Kyra laughed before letting him go and ushering to you. Then she turned to you, a wide grin pulling her lips. Marina, it's so nice you came along with. And as a bonus, you both arrived in one piece. It's good to see you too, Kyra. It's been too long. Kyra beamed at you both, and while you would have loved nothing more than to settle down and rest after the drive, you could see she wasn't going to let go of you that easily.
So?
How was your trip? I admit it was just a pinch. I was just a pinch worried. Yeah, I like this apartment, but I don't know. It just feels very bare and utilitarian compared to. I don't know. I love this lighting though. This is very modern and chic. We barely made it. I appreciate your concern, but it was all right. About the fussing, you let Cove answer. We barely made it. Cove gave you a dry look, a small smile tilting his lips. We handled it just fine. Kyra clapped her hands together, the bracelets around her wrists jingling. I'm so proud. I can hardly believe how mature you both are. Where'd all those smarts come from? Cove ran a hand over his hair with an awkward chuckle.
I don't know.
Maybe I got some from my parents? His mom looked at him deeply, her eyes glistening as she shook the sentimentality off with a wave of her hand. Oh, Kyra.
Any whoosies.
Any whoosies! You have to be half asleep already. I don't want to keep you up much longer. Early morning in any whoosies. That doesn't make sense, Kyra. I do love that word, though. It's a word that I've never heard. I feel like it's a word they made up for Kyra Priest. How do you want to deal with the sleeping arrangements? I've only got my own room and Cove's, though the living room couch isn't bad. You keep your bed, Mom. Marina can use mine. I'll sleep on the couch or the floor. Whatever's easiest. It doesn't matter for one night. I'll sleep on the couch in the living room. Cove shook his head, dismissing the idea immediately.
No.
You're the guest. Wow! Listen to that.
No.
Just that flat no. That's one of my new favorites. He's still smiling, too. Just no. I don't want to take your bed. Well, I still don't want to take it from you, and I said it first. The two of you narrowed your eyes at each other stubbornly. Kyra took it as her cue to step in. So you can, like, sleep in the same room, obviously, when you're, like, you know, tight. My house, my rules, and you know who I have to side with. I'd like you to take the bed, Marina. Oh, man. Kyra. You hesitated a moment, but it seemed you had to accept the hospitality. With a small sigh, you gave in. Alright. Cool.
So...
Would you be okay with me sleeping on the floor in the room? I'd rather be I'd rather be there than out in the open living room, even if there is the couch. Oh, so you have to do this. I'd prefer it if you were on the couch. Yeah, you can sleep there. She doesn't care. He's a room. Kyra giggled softly, drawing your attention back to her. I'm not sure if in good conscience I can allow the two of you to stay in the same room together. You'll stay the night up having fun, and then you'll have to make the trip back on no rest. So this is more like teasing than thinking we're actually going to do anything, right? I mean... I don't know. Come on, we're not little kids having a sleepover. We're responsible adults, right, Marina? No, we're not. Well, I am Cove, though. They simply smile at him. Maybe I should sleep. Maybe we should sleep in the living room after all. No, we're not. Cove cleared his throat and gave you a look that had you biting down on your lip, trying to hide your smile. I'll leave it at that then, for now. Just remember that the walls are thin in this apartment. If you can't settle down and sleep, I might have to separate you. We'll be good. I feel like Kyra is kind of implying sex here, but at the same time, we're not those kinds of people. I'm not, anyway. I don't know about this man's.
Marvelous.
Kyra clasped her hands together, her bracelets softly tinkling against each other again. It's only getting later, so I better let you prepare for bed. She nodded towards the hallway and gave you a small smile. I'll play hostess for a sec and show you where the bathroom is first, Marina, and where you'll be staying the night. So, like, this game helps me with my enunciation, my reading, a lot. I know I skip parts and I do kind of a bad job sometimes, and like, because I'm reading too fast, but it really does help me because I need to work on enunciation more for my real life work and such. Thank you. You hoisted your travel bag back over your shoulder and followed behind Kyra and down the hallway. Cove shuffled along behind you, disappearing into the bedroom while his mom had you go to the restroom. There's really not as much difference whether you're dating or not, though, I've noticed. Oh, I like the picture of water on there, too. You can see the whole thing now, the knife block, everything. Nice big sink. She has a pretty good kitchen. Where's the oven, though? Oh, this is the oven. Here, I guess what this is. Yeah, it would obviously be... Wow. Doi, morons. The apartment was small, but nicely decorated in soft, cool colors, with plenty of artwork hanging on the walls to give it character. I don't know. I guess, but, like, I feel like there should be more. It was stylish and exactly what you would have expected from someone like Kyra. No, I've already said this a bunch here already. You know what is missing that is strange to me is a microwave. That's what I'm thinking is missing here. And there's not a lot of appliances. But, no. This is not what I would think of when I think of Kyra. Expected from someone like Kyra, thank you very much. But I know the artist can only do so much. After being shown the bathroom and wishing Kyra a good night, you headed into the room and found Cove already there. This, however, is what I would expect from someone like Kyra trying to make a space for Cove. It looks very Cove. He had changed into his sleepwear for the night as well and set aside his glasses already. Ooh, I don't know if we've seen his sleepwear in this step yet. Looking around, you found the bedroom to look much the same as the rest of the apartment, but with small ocean elements. You were sure Cove must have enjoyed when he stayed here. Yeah. All in all, the room was pretty clean, and almost looked more like a hotel guest room than a bedroom. Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Like I said, again, very Cove. Again, I don't think Kyra lives at home all that much. I think she's traveling for work a lot, except when she's here for Cove and stuff. Cole only spent a few weeks of the year there, so it made sense it wasn't especially lived in.
So?
This is a choice. You look like you're in a cult, Cove. You look like you're in a frickin' cult. What do you think? It's pretty nice, huh? Mom always keeps it clean and everything, even when I'm not here. Yeah, what do I think about the room or about this? All of this you got going on right now. Holy, I don't even know what to say about this, Cove. You are a man of many talents, and getting dressed is not one of them. It's a great room. Seriously looks like a hotel room. That's sweet of her. Yeah, she's good like that. He seems pleased enough with the response and gave you a small smile before opening the zip on his bag. When you went back to the room, you jumped in bed under the covers, just as Cove was shuffling into his sleeping bag on the floor. Wow. Yeah. I guess we just do that. There's no flirty business, funny business. We waited until he was settled in before he flipped off the lights, and a soft glow from outside peeked through the blinds, casting shadows over the floor. I do love this lighting, though. Holy crap, that's cool. You closed your eyes, blocking everything out.
Night.
Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite. The room grew quiet as the two of you wound down for the night, and you found yourselves listening to the sounds of the city outside the window. Yeah, I think I determined that she lives in Reno. I think. I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of central central northwestern. I mean... But anyway, I've slept on sleeping bags on the floor many times in my life. These days I wouldn't prefer it, but maybe when I was their age I wouldn't have had a problem with it. The noise out there was so different to what you were used to back home. Cars zooming past and people out having fun instead of crashing waves and the ocean winds cocooning your house in their embrace. This feels familiar, don't you think? I've been having sleepovers for years. Cove mumbled quietly and rustled in his bedding, turning to face toward your location.
Right?
It feels like I've had this view so many times, looking up over you tucked into bed. Don't say it like that, Cove. That's creepy. It's not creepy. He trailed off a little as you assumed he was drifting off to sleep, too tired to continue the conversation. But then, as if a switch had been hit, he sprung up startlingly as you shot upright in his sleeping bag. Wait a minute. Why am I always on the floor? What? You raised your eyebrows at him through the dark. The times I slept over at your house, you got to stay in your bed. It was your bed after all. After all. It was your bed after all. Yeah? But when it was my family hosting things, Dad always made sure you got a bed there. Like, my family doesn't have the same rules as your family, and I'm the girl, I guess. I don't know. The words spilled out of him faster and faster, the pitch of his voice rising as his revelation spiraled. This man's a big baby now, suddenly. He'd say that you were the guest, so it was only right, no matter what. I've always been the one who takes the floor, every time. This is a racket. Yeah, you know what? Marina probably would have offered a lot of these times, just like she offered tonight, because Marina don't give a crap where she sleeps. She can fall asleep anywhere. You burst out laughing. Sorry, I don't want it to be that way. Them's the breaks. You only just realized he was right. Yeah, this. You only just realized he was right. Wow. Yeah, I never noticed either. I can't believe it. This has been going on for 10 years. His eyebrows, he stopped suddenly, and you could see through a limited light in his eyebrows that wrangled in disbelief, his frown wobbly in shock. That's how it is in my family. My moms always have I always have thought it was more fun and comfortable for the guests to use their own sleeping things rather than a stranger's bed. In my family, the guest gets the bed because it's good to make sure your guest has a proper place to sleep. We were opposites all along, but I never even thought about it. When it looked like the situation was going to stall there, Cove sighed suddenly, his shoulders slumping in sleep-addled defeat.
It's okay.
Forget it. It's too late to take back all those nights on the floor. At least I can think of myself as being really considerate. He sounded resigned to his fate, but despite looking on the bright side, he was still pouting. He sighed. I did offer for you to take the bed tonight, you know. Yep, that she's gonna yeah, we'll see what else. Aw, Cove, I feel bad you're unhappy. Then you make me sacrifice for me. Quit being a baby. Yeah. I did offer for you to take the bed tonight, you know.
I know.
I do know, but you're still the guest, and I hadn't had the epiphany. With a tired sigh, he flopped back down. I can make do with the floor, for old time's sake. Some real humor came back to his tone. It's basically a tradition by now. Are you sure you don't want the bed? Why don't we share? You drop the topic for the night. Let's just drop the topic. Like, she's not gonna offer this crap. And, like, I don't think she'd want to be like that. Good night, Cove.
Good night.
Good night. He seems to be accepting it well, his fate well enough, so, you know. Your eyes slowly fluttered closed, and you let the sounds of the outside world and Cove's steady breathing lull you closer and closer to sleep. I don't know, man. As I get older, some people's breathing is kind of, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I guess it's never bothered me. I've just had friends who snore when I've had to sleep in the same room as them. Cove must have been exhausted after the long drive, and you were feeling the effects of a busy day weighing heavy on your body. I mean, I was driving too, man. Driving takes a lot out of you. Eventually, you managed to switch off completely and fall into a deep, restful sleep. The next day dawned, bringing with it the sounds of birds chirping happily outside the window. You opened your eyes slowly, letting them adjust to light as you tried to recall where you were and remembering the unfamiliar sight of Cove's second bedroom. You had woken up on your own. You reached over to turn the alarm off you had set. Yeah, this. Cove nudged you awake. Alarm. It took you a moment to find the off button in your phone, and you sighed in relief when the noise finally stopped. The sound of... Wait. We've determined that she was a morning person, though. Still, she probably wouldn't. I don't know. I'm gonna go with it. The sound of Cove shuffling around the room drew your attention, though. You weren't surprised. He had always been a... You know what? No. We are gonna go back. We're gonna wake up on our own. The early morning sun filtered through the blinds, telling you it was about time to get out of bed and start getting ready for the day. The sound of Cove shuffling down and drew your attention, though you weren't surprised. You'd always been a morning person. Sitting up in bed, you let out a yawn, stretched your arms above your head. You still felt pretty well. You were quite refreshed. There was a lot to do, and you were ready and willing to get into it and get ready for the trip home. Good morning. How'd you sleep? Pretty good, thanks. You? Yeah, I was fine. That's something we have in common. We're both morning people. You pulled yourself out of bed, grabbing a fresh change of clothes and your toiletries before heading into the bathroom. After all that, you met Cove back in his room. He was sitting on the floor when you entered, sorting through a bunch of stuff in a box, determining what to bring and what to leave behind. Hey.
Hey.
Did you pull that stuff out in those drawers? Okay, cult leader Cove. Oh, wait. This is just a shirt. Now that I can see it, this is just a shirt, and there's shorts down here. Okay. Thank goodness. I think the way it was zoomed in before, it looked like this was like a nightgown, and it went all the way down his legs. And I was like, who the hell has something like that? But this is just a shirt. It's just a big shirt, which is what you really want for a sleep shirt, so that makes sense. Okay. You nodded, though he hadn't even looked up from his task, so you know he wouldn't have seen. Heading over to his drawers, you started the task of taking out various items and setting them on the ground in front of Cove. Another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see you were making great progress to Cove's room, with only the closet left to sort through. It took a minute to take a mouthful of water from your bottle and perch the edge of the bed, feeling productive. I couldn't remember if we were planning to drive back today. I think we were. All things considered, that's a long drive, man. Cove glanced over at you and paused, putting down the tape gun he had been using to seal up his boxes. You raised an eyebrow. He never even got dressed, though. This is just... He's still wearing his cult leader outfit. You know, it's really strange to see you sitting in this room. Why? He frowned a little, his eyes distant and his voice quiet when he spoke next.
That's...
During the visits to Mom's, when I was sitting alone in this room, I'd sometimes think about how you weren't here. It's a weird feeling at the time, just that you weren't around, and now that you are here in this exact place, I don't know how to explain the feeling. It's that feeling of people that you know well, because, like, it's the feeling of two parts of your world mixing together, right? Like, this summer I introduced people that, you know, two people from different parts of my world. Like, I brought some people home to my parents that had never been there before, and it was weird having people in my childhood home and my childhood, like, room and stuff that had never been there before. Like, because you're so used to having people in one part of your life, and then when they're suddenly in a different part of your life, it's a weird feeling. It's hard to explain that. I would even say I don't know how to explain the feeling. He shrugged it off and smiled a little, as though he'd said enough already and didn't want to risk sounding silly. Life is pretty confusing is all. I didn't know you thought about me when you were away. It's true, life makes no sense. I missed you so much when you were gone. That's true, life makes no sense. But I think we both managed to navigate it well enough so far. He smiled slightly, nodding his head a little. Yeah, I hope so. He looked away satisfied, heading over to the closet, the last of the items to be sorted. Before long, every box, closet, and drawer had been thoroughly combed through, with the items either neatly packed up in boxes or organized and returned to their proper place. With a sigh of relief, he glanced around the bedroom and the work you had done together. There's a lot of stuff I wish I'd been able to save from my childhood bedroom before my mom packed it away or got rid of it. If I'm honest, she got rid of some stuff I found some stuff this year. I did bring some stuff back from my parents' house when I came last time. I discovered that a bunch of my childhood VHS tapes that I thought I had lost forever were still there. And I'm gonna get them all. I'm gonna bring a bunch of that back with me. I'm super excited for that. I got some of it, but I'm gonna get more of it and have a whole bunch. I've got space for it now, so I could, you know. Let's run the bedroom with the work you've done together.
All right.
We're done. Good job, Doss. I'm gonna change out my PJs for the drive. Yeah. The two of you headed out in the living room, ready to get everything finalized and hit the road. You found Kyra in the kitchen, pouring a cup of tea. Cove headed toward her, laughing casually against the counter that divided the two spaces. Or leaning casually. So he only, like... The one thing is weird. I get it's a video game, but it's always wearing the same clothes every day. Isn't that weird? Hey, you didn't have to get up so early.
Come on.
Are you crazy? Of course I had to see you out before you go. You can't sneak away while I'm out cold.
What do you mean out so early? We've been up several hours since dawn. In the summertime, I guess it does get light pretty early, so it probably gets light at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So it's probably still only like 8, 9 o'clock, but that's not that early. Unless Kyra's typically not up early when he's there. Maybe that's what... She beamed at him and in all honesty seemed more happy to be up and getting ready for the day. I was kind of thinking at the passage of time in this game, we'd been working till like afternoon, and I was like, we're still going to drive home today? But it was probably only a couple hours to be fair.
Do you want some breakfast? I've got some muesli. Yeah, muesli, or eggs and toast. Oh, and some of that fruity cereal I used to love.
This makes me so happy. I love muesli. Muesli. How do you say that? It's like Finnish. I love it. I haven't had that in a long time. I should get some of that soon. I can only find it at certain grocery stores, but I should get it. That's okay. We really should eat in the road. Kyra smiled sadly, a little disappointed, but she seemed to understand that their time was running thin.
I thought you might say that. In that case, I packed you some snacks for the road.
What do you think?
Even if you don't end up eating them, take it anyway, just in case. You can always feed them to Cliff when you get home. And tell him I said hi.
Cove laughed and shook his head, knowing his dad would love nothing more than to polish off whatever food Kyra had prepared for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom. He really didn't have to.
Thank you for the snacks. It's nice of you to organize this for us.
It must be a mom thing to know stuff like that. I'll definitely eat whatever you packed. It must be a mom thing to know stuff like that. Kyra smiled before resting her gaze on Cove fondly.
One of the many pleasures of being a parent.
She returned your smile with one of her own. She returned your smile with one of her own before putting her cup of tea aside.
Well, I'll help you get the car packed.
Sure.
Thanks. The three of you got a move on, taking the boxes from Cove's bedroom and heading down to fill the backseat of the car until there was barely an inch of space left in the back and trunk. Yeah, if he's just taking some stuff out of his bedroom and a few boxes. Yeah, there's probably plenty of space in there. No big furniture or anything though. Why was I thinking Cove might have big furniture? Well, I was thinking he might have like a surfboard or something, but why would he have that here too? I don't know. Just some books probably and some other stuff. Books are heavy though, man. With all you helping, it only took a couple trips to move everything, and you were done before you knew it. Then it was truly time to say goodbye. You convened back inside the apartment while Kyra looked over the two of you with a quiet smile. It was great to see you both. Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming. She gave each of you a hug, and you felt a little sad you hadn't been able to spend more time with her. It was good to see you too, Mom. It's crazy to me that they have these backgrounds, and for just this moment thing, there's no reason to ever come back here. Like, a lot of times I'm always like, oh, we'll never see this place again, and then we do. They find some way to work it back in, but there's no way they could work in Kyra's apartment again. Cove embraced her in return, the two of them holding onto each other for a few seconds longer. I'll miss you, but I'll visit again soon.
Of course.
You better.
Hey, we should make plans for you to visit us too. I'll let you know when it's settled.
I'd love that.
Kyra bundled all the stuff she prepared into a bag and handed them over to you. You took a quick peek at what she packed. There was fruits, nuts, seeds, hard-boiled eggs, and some veggie sticks. Ew! I mean, Marina probably would eat that, but I won't. This is healthy stuff. Healthy nature person Kyra here.
Cool.
Oh, good to see we got some fresh food options now. The snacks I brought weren't. Kyra shook her head at him, expecting let out a soft laugh, as though she wouldn't have expected anything else.
I seriously hope you're feeding yourself better than at home.
Yeah, of course, just not on trips.
I can live with that then.
She looked over at him fondly, with her eyes last focusing on his face and filling with emotion.
I'm gonna miss you, baby.
This might be a better background. I don't know. I'll have to decide what I want to use.
Me too.
Goodbye. Thanks for letting us come. We'll all be together again before you know it. You didn't know what to say. We'll all be together again before you know it.
I hope so.
Kyra put an arm around you both, pulling you tight into her sides for one final squeeze.
Bye.
Have a safe trip.
We will. With the last goodbye, you exited the apartment, though. Cove hesitated for a moment at the door, his expression distant. You weren't sure what he was doing, though you tentatively took a step towards him. Everything okay? Your voice seemed to bring him back down to earth, and he shook his head and cleared his thoughts, his green hair swaying from side to side.
Come on.
Yeah, let's go. With that, the two of you headed back down to the car, ready to make the long trip home. Soon enough, you were on the wide open road, with a car full of Cove stuff, and one destination. Sunset Bird, California. The drive was as smoothly as it could be expected, and the morning slowly creeping into midday as the miles flew by. After a while, you switched places with Cove and took over driving for a couple hours. See, I love this. They remembered that I wanted to do that. She drives. They can switch out so no one gets too tired. The day flew by in a whir of open road and sunshine, and before you knew it, it was early afternoon. By that point, you'd already crossed the state line. Cove announced that he planned a little stop on the way home. He was quite pleased with himself as you arrived at the precipice. The Redwood National Park. Oh, that's right, we go here. Oh, Cove. They did reuse. This is, like I said, one of those places you never thought they'd reuse, but they do reuse it. So yeah, this is why I thought she lived in Reno, because I figured you go. So they don't drive through the desert then. They drive up through California, and then through like the mountains. Yeah. Okay. They're not driving around Vegas and up through the desert in Nevada. They're driving through the rest of They're driving mostly through California. Okay. Shaded beneath a canopy of enormous redwood trees, you drove along. When Cove parked the car, you pushed the door to get out, and the first thing you did was look up. Enormous redwood trees surround you on all sides, their massive trunks shooting straight up into a canopy of foliage overhead. There were too many of them to count, stretching out on as far as you could see. You squinted against the sunlight that was peeking through the leaves and dancing on the paths around you. It's great, right? He smiled at you from over the roof of the car before glancing around the place fondly. Remember that trip our families took here that one summer? It was cool going on a journey and seeing the forest in person, even if we didn't stay very long.
So...
And I guess we could stay for even less this time, but oh well. It just seemed like a good time to stop by. Who knows when we'll get another chance? His voice got a little softer at the end, but it seemed to be bittersweet for him, being in a place that he was so fond of, but not having time to appreciate fully. Yeah, man. You were pleased to have stopped there. You felt pretty good about being there. I was happy to see Cove happy. You didn't mind either way. You would prefer to not stop at all. You were pleased to have stopped there. It was a beautiful place to stretch your legs and get into some fresh air. Imagine just being able to stop somewhere like this. Thanks for bringing me here. There'll be more chance in the future, I promise. Spirit, take you break at a gas station? I'll put up you for the trees. I'll put up this place for you. You said nothing about that. I'll put up with you for the trees. Cove laughed and dragging his gaze away from the trees for long enough to smile at you cheekily. Oh, it must have been so terrible for you. The two of you walked around for a while, completely dwarfed by the sheer scale of the redwoods. I kind of put your view of yourself and everything into a strange perspective. You took in a lungful of clean forest air, listening to the sound of birdsong and the cool breeze rustling through the underbrush, taking advantage of the space to move around freely. However you felt about being there, it was totally different scene than sitting in that old car for hours and hours. Being here again, you couldn't help but reminisce on what else had happened during that trip you'd taken here all that time ago. There were a lot of things that had reminded you of it recently. Yeah, because she's thinking about traveling and leaving, and this trip is one of the reasons she was so excited to go. It's kind of what sparked that need for her to leave. And now she's gone on another cool trip. You looked over at Cove, who seemed to be lost in piece of the place, and you wondered why any of it crossed his mind. Man, I went to this place and it was like my church, man. I want to go back there someday. I love those trees. I love that place. It is so... If you've never... They call Disney the most magical place on Earth. I don't believe that. Go to a cool natural place like the Redwood National Forest, man. Smiling at the sight, you thought back on what had been the highlight of that long-gone vacation. Elizabeth teased us mercilessly over that, remember? Our families were so close. Remember how a bird stole your dad's lunch? Why would this have been the highlight? We wouldn't have been happy with that. Our families were so close. Back then, and still now, we've done so many things together. Cove chuckled and shook his head as you were thinking back on how your families started to come together. Yeah, we're just one big happy neighborhood, huh? You continued chatting about the trip even a while longer, about things you'd seen and done and even eaten. A lot of the memories Cove had of the trip were similar to your own, but you were also surprised to hear the few other things from his point of view. So much had happened there was no shortage of things to talk about. The place certainly had a nostalgic quality about it. It was another time he had to sleep on the floor when we took a bed, and didn't offer it to him. Your spirits were light as you ambled past information boards and picnic areas. Before long, you decided it was time to bring the short trip to stop to an end and head back to the car and get on the road again. This is something I would do, though, be on a road trip, and I've done this before, and stop off at a nice park, nice state park or national park, and get out and just take a walk and stuff. A hike, a little short hike, and then get back on your drive. I've done this kind of stuff before when I was on trips. I love it. I like to do it still. Unless usually the destination these days is to do this, so, you know, I don't do it as much, but I still would like to, if I went on like a longer trip. Cove sighed when you finally reached the vehicle, jangling keys in his hand before unlocking the doors.
Well...
I wish we didn't have to go, but we're going to be responsible and not stay longer than we should. How grown up of you. He smiled slightly, and with that, the two of you jumped into the car and buckled in and you put it in drive. You were getting closer and closer to town as the sun started setting, and you were still far away with the radio stations were unfamiliar to you. Cove twisted the dial this way and that before stumbling out into a channel where the song seemed to like. It was a rare gift from the fates and the sea of static, strange radio jockeys, and grating tunes. Here's, like, car driving cut-in Cove. It looks kind of weird with this car, I don't know, man. They had to, like, yeah, I don't know. His face immediately brightened at the sound of it, and he drummed his fingers along the bottom of the steering wheel happily. Sitting back in the seat, he bopped his head, shimmied his shoulders in the time to the tune, all while mouthing along to the words. Occasionally, he even lifted one hand from the wheel to gesture with his fingers for a specific line. You smiled, chuckled softly, shook your head. You sang along, you ignored it. You sang along? Cove raised a pleased eyebrow at your vocalization. Emboldened by you, Cove decided to speak the words rather than lip-syncing. Your voices mixed together, slowly creeping louder and louder as you belted out the words to the song. Every now and then a word would be sung wrong. By the end, you were both laughing too much to continue. The song ended and Cove reached over to start cycling through the radio stations again. Upon finding nothing tolerable, he flipped it off the dial in defeat and leaned back on the seat with a sigh. This is also classic road trip stuff that I like to do. Although not so much anymore because I mostly just listen to my phone, but I do like trying local radio stations from time to time just to see what you get. Usually country and or western. You rested your head on your hands and stared out the window as the sky darkened, watching landscapes slowly melt into more familiar views. Although I will say in California there wasn't a lot of that. It was actually more rock and roll. California, I've driven through the part of California they're driving through, mostly. And it's yeah, the stations are probably mostly like classic rock. I mean, there's always some country stations, and there's a lot of weird Christian stations out this way too, even though it's not a very Christian state. Like, religious state is a better way of putting it. The miles went on, and any energy you had earlier was beginning to drain away. Yeah, the minutes are going on. We're going to go over an hour with this one. You imagine home and your family. You'd be there together soon. You know, I've spent all these years living in Sunset Bird and taking a few weeks each summer visiting my mom in that second room. That's not going to happen anymore. Not really.
I mean...
I can still see my parents, but the way it all works between us has changed forever. He paused, the silence stretching. A serious look settled into his face. He thoughts far away. Yeah, we're talking about the future. I'm excited to be on the brink of real adulthood. I'm worried about how things will be in the future. I feel the same about my parents, too. You should lighten up. I'm excited to be on the brink of real adulthood. There are so many experiences we've yet to do. Cove's mouth pulled into a tight line, though he gave a small nod. Cove stared straight ahead down the long, long road. The path looked like it'd never end from where you were, but that wasn't true. Eventually, he found a few more words to say.
I'm so glad.
I think it's good we were able to do this trip, without any parents or chaperones. It was just us. We did it all. I don't know, I feel a little more independent now, a little more ready for what's ahead. Right? I felt ready for a while now. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready. He's running. Right? It was like a real first step to be on our own all the time. I'll be here. It'll be here before we know it. Because she wants to do this, but you know, it's still a big thing to decide to do, to go out on your own. Especially what Marina's planning to do. She's planning to just go on her own, like into the great unknown, like to go on a trip, man, by herself. It's just a big step. The sky outside grew ever darker as the hours passed by, and the stars blinking out like tiny fireflies painted onto a canvas of blue. The sooner you continued transitioning between open roads, industrial areas, and beach towns, becoming increasingly recognizable as time went on. You felt somewhat disconnected from the world around you as you watched it through your window, your tired mind growing hazy. It was a strange, reflective feeling, but peaceful nonetheless. Soon enough, the world would return to you, and you'd find your feet firmly on the ground. It couldn't be helped. The adventure would end, life would continue, but your memories would linger on. I remember Reflection is, too. It's one of the best moments. It's probably going to be the best moment in the entire section. Reflection and Charity and this one's kind of a whatever, so-so moment. Like, there's nothing really in it for Marina. It's just, you get to see Kyra again. Some cool stuff. Go to the Redwoods. I'm interested in late shift, like I said. I'm interested in boating. Charity and Reflection I'm excited for. Talks I'm not excited for. Serendipity I'm really not looking forward to at all. Aaron's is kind of another whatever, and so is Hang. Hang might be okay. And Happiness is going to be interesting, but kind of whatever. So, we'll see you next time. This has already been almost an hour. Thanks for hanging in there with us. These are all going to be kind of long like this, because they pack more into the later moments.